So the first way that you'll see these quadratic equations is what we call vertex form. This form makes it extremely easy to identify the vertex. You don't have to do any math, no calculations whatsoever. All you have to do is look at the equation. And so this form, we write f of x equals in parentheses, it's x. Nope, hold on. There's something in front of the parentheses. Yes.
Where would the x go?
All right, so we have an a in the front of the parentheses. And then we have x minus h squared plus k. This is just the general equation, the general vertex form. Now that a tells us a couple of things. One, it tells us how skinny or wide the parabola is. The bigger the number, like 2, 3, 4, 5, the skinnier it gets. If it's less than 1, like 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, it gets wider. We're really not going to do too much with that in this unit. But the thing that you do need to know is that if it's positive, that means that the parabola opens up like this. And if it's negative, it opens down. If you don't see a number at all in front of the parentheses, we would just assume it's a positive 1. You might see just a plain negative, that would be a negative 1. Then we look at this h and k. That the number that's here in the parentheses, you'll see an actual number. That tells us the x value of the vertex. The big thing to remember is that you have to take the opposite. So if it says a plus 3 there, the x value of the vertex would be a negative 3. And then this number that's added or subtracted at the end tells us the y value of the vertex. You do not take the opposite of that one. So you only do the opposite, or you only switch the signs of the one that's inside of the parentheses. So just in general, your vertex is HK. And the axis of symmetry is x equals h. Remember, you have to include the x equals as part of your axis of symmetry. If you don't include that, it's incorrect. So let's look at a few examples. Number 1. The vertex. To get the x value of the vertex, we take the opposite of what's here in the parentheses. So it's going to be a positive 6 and then positive 2. You do not change the sign of the y. The axis of symmetry is what?
2.
No.
Negative.
No.
Negative.
What are you all forgetting? X equals 6. If you put 6 down, it's wrong.
I always forget that.
You have to put the x equals. This is an AOS, axis of symmetry. Does this parabola open up or down?
Up.
It opens up because the positive 4. All right, number 2, the vertex.
-2, 8.
All right, the vertex. What did you say the vertex was?
-2, 8. Hey, I said it first.
-2, 8 is correct.
I said better.
What about the axis of symmetry?
X equals -2.
Good. X equals -2. Does this one open up or down? Down. Good. All right. Number 3. What is the vertex? -3, -5. Good. What about the axis of symmetry? X equals -3. Up or down?
It's up.
It is up. There is no negative in the front. So we assume there's a positive one there. So it opens up. Now, if we look at numbers 4, 5, and 6, those look a little different. On this one, the 4 has been moved to the other side of the equal sign. So we have to move it back before you can identify your vertex. So how would I get this 4 over there?
Add 1 on both sides.
We want the 4 over here.
You had to add.
All we want to do is move the 4. How do we move something to the other side? We're going to subtract 4. This is a positive 4, so we're going to subtract 4. Now, I cannot subtract the 4 from this 1 because this -1 is inside of the parentheses and it's being squared. You can't combine those in any way. So we rewrite it with the -4 just at the end. And that becomes equals 0 because 4 minus 4 is 0. So now, what is the vertex? Nope.
What? +1.
+1, -4. What is the axis of symmetry?
X equals 1.
X equals 1. Does this one point up or down?
Down.
Down. Good. Number 5, we've got a -8 on the wrong side. So how do I move it over? Add 8 to both sides. This becomes -5 times x plus 5 squared plus 8 equals 0.
How is the other one +1?
On the vertex, Because you see how it says -1 in the parentheses? It's always the opposite. It's always a positive one. You change the sign. So this one, what is my vertex? -5, 8. And my axis of symmetry? Good. Point up or down? Down. And number 6, this one already is equal to 0, so there's nothing to move. So what do you think my vertex is? +4, 0. Good. Because if there's nothing being added or subtracted, you put a 0. You wouldn't just leave it blank. You have to put something there. And so my axis of symmetry, nope, x equals 4. It's always the x value of your vertex. Point up or down? Up. Good. Let's turn the page. These last 2 examples, or 4 examples, sorry, show a graph, and you are going to write the equation. Now, when I picked these graphs, I specifically picked graphs that don't have an a value, that number in the very front, because that's something that would be a lot harder for us to find. And so I wanted some that you really only have to look at the vertex. So the first thing that you need to do is identify the vertex. So right here's the vertex. What is this point? What'd you say? Close. The -2 is correct. -1. -2, -1. Now it does point up, so when I write my equation, we're going to leave it positive there. If I had made it point down, we would have put a negative in the front. But it points up. So we always start with x, and then I have to pull from my vertex. What do I need to do with this -2? Make it a +2. Because remember, it's always the opposite. So your equation and the x value of your vertex, the signs switch. And don't forget your squared. And then we bring down the -1. The y value does not change. Number 8. I want you to write down what you think the vertex is. You've got to make sure that you know how to pick out the coordinates of a point. That's something you should be really good at. You shouldn't be missing that part. This one is the point 4, 2, because we go right 4, so positive, and up 2 is also positive. My function. So it does point up, so I don't need to make that negative. I'm going to make that a -4 because we changed the sign, and I'm going to keep this a +2. Are there any questions? I want you to work on numbers 9 and 10. All right, on number 9, you should have identified the vertex as the point 4, -3. And so then in the equation, we have f of x equals x -4, because remember we switched the x value, squared, and then -3. Any questions on that? And number 10, your vertex is -3, 2. So our function is f of x equals x plus 3 squared plus 2. And if you want to check your answer, let's just check this one. Now, it may look slightly different because notice my graph is not the same scale as what's on my calculator, but I can see that it's kind of in the top left quadrant, which is quadrant 2. It's gone left 3 up 2, left 3 up 2. So that helps us there.